I gave a presentation with other faith group investors about the values that underpin my organisation, which is the Central Finance Board of the Methodist Church. We were asked, in what way do we differ from other responsible investors? I think my answer really was that in many, many ways we're the same. We all hold values passionately. It's just the church organisations can live those values out and express them more openly if we want to. And that's probably one of the key differences that I tried to emphasise in my presentation.
Which is of course very important for your organisation. You're based on it.
Absolutely. I mean, our organisation is, our whole investment approach is based on church teaching. And we know we're not going to get it right every time. We know that there's no such thing as a perfect company. But what we're trying to do is apply our values as a response to our faith into the wider world. And we do that through investment. And it means we can talk to company executives about the values that underpin their organisations and themselves, how they're running a company, how they're making sure they run their companies well. And that forms the beginning of our dialogue with companies that we invest in.
Do you also think you have got a different company now because of you have this religious background?
I think in many ways it is, you know, we're a professional city investment organisation. If you were to visit our offices, that would be very apparent indeed. The rigour of our investment analysis and our ethical analysis, which we integrate, is, you know, I think it's right up there with the best. The issue, though, is that we're also very open about the values that are underpinning the organisation, and those form immediately the part of the engagement and the dialogue with companies, even from an investment point of view. So we integrate those two, and that's probably one way where we are different, and that's where it's most evident.
Your clients, are they also religious, so to say, or from other kind of groups of people who have not so great interest in religion, but they appreciate your point of view?
It's a combination of both. So the majority of money at the moment is Methodist Church money in its various different forms. It could be charities, churches and what have you. We also manage money for other church organisations, other denominations, other religious charities. But there are also charities that invest with us just because they like the ethos, and the outworking of our values is very similar to the outworking of their values. And that's what they like, together with our commitment to keep driving forward investment performance, which is part of being a good steward.
In your session, do you hear other points of interest?
Yeah, for me there were two or three, I think. One particularly was listening to my colleague talking about Islamic finance and the approach there and how they'd work together with the churches. And I think that was really interesting, particularly the focus on interest rates, which is a concern for us, high interest rates, but obviously it's taken a little bit further in Islamic finance. And secondly, there were some questions about external fund managers and how we might choose those when we look at them. Most of our money is direct, but we do use external fund managers. And for me, it's about, are those values of the fund manager lived out in the way that they run their operation, as well as, you know, what the fund's investing.